we had to get you on to get Dan on. God bless football. I mean, that's really, you would think it'd be easier to get him on my own show. I sit next to him every single day, but it took you to get him on. So we
They
thank you for
lured
that,
me
Aaron.
in. They lured me in with the promise. They're like, "Would you be on God Bless Football?" And it was on one condition: you got to find Aaron Rodgers for me. And they've located you and they've pinned you down. And I'm happy to see your smiling face. Thank you for joining us.
You bet, guys. Thanks for your patience.
I want to ask you so many questions. The first being, what are some of the demons that came up for you during ayahuasca? I've always been afraid to do that because you get very sick and it's part of ego crushing. So what's some of the stuff that came up for you and what were you warned about?
Well, I'd done it before. I did it back in 2020. So if you're talking about the latest one, the first one was a pretty benevolent experience. Both nights was very positive, felt very loving. Connection with the spirit of the vine and the earth and my ancestors. And the second one was, I purged all 3 nights. And the second night had a really, more of a positive journey. The first night was definitely a, kind of an ego death experience, but a lot of it was just around self-love. So all the negative thoughts that you've ever thought about yourself literally came to my mind. It was like my ego was whispering in my ear for 5 hours, all these just very, very negative thoughts about myself that maybe I've had over the years, and basically the worst things you can tell yourself. And it was really tough and exactly what I needed to learn how to surrender to that moment and find self-love in the midst of some really difficult circumstances. So that came up. It was a great group to be in, to be kind of held in that container with those 22 individuals, really good facilitation, some legendary facilitators who are deep in the medicine space, who worked with not just Aya, but a number of other medicines, and really know how to kind of hold the energy of the room, but also attend to anybody who needs any special help. And great, the coolest thing I think about the whole experience is the in-between days when you're not sitting, you're integrating. So you're communicating your experiences with the other people in the group, and sharing those stories of hardship or bliss or whatever it might be, and then having fun side conversations with facilitators and getting to know other people in the group, and just a great experience.
You've mentioned self-love a lot in the time that we've been talking to you, and it seems like on this journey, you're looking for ways to correct some of your patterns, whatever, or family patterns, or historical descendants patterns, whatever it is that you're searching for. Can you explain to us? You said the second day was a lot of purging. You're throwing up. I didn't think this was a 3-day experience. I thought this was like an 8-hour experience. So you're doing a super intense one.
It's 3 nights. So it's sit off day for 3 nights. But yeah, I think we all, whether we're conscious of it or subconsciously, we have conditioning and patterns that we develop as children. A lot of it is just survival. And for most of us, especially grow up in the States, it's not like life or death survival, but it's surviving the routine, the life that you're in, kind of finding your way in those places. And as you get older, some of those patterns and conditions don't really serve you anymore. The way you've dealt with things, for me, suppression of feelings, not finding my voice, kind of, not able to express emotions or feelings that I'd like to express in order to more deeply connect with loved ones or in relationships or different things. So a lot of it is kind of that unwiring of some of those neural pathways that you just learned as a kid. And that's not a slight against any of our upbringings or the stuff that we grew up with. We all have it, whether we grew up in the most incredible, loving household or whether we grew up in a difficult environment, there's going to be conditioning that happens and patterns that happen that served us as a young person, maybe don't serve us as we get older and become adults and try and do the adult thing.
Aaron, I tell my ego, I'm not certain what you told yours, but I tell my ego that I won back-to-back fucking MVPs. Did you?
Zip it up, ego.
Yeah, zip it up, ego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the ego likes that, I think. And look, in our business, I think we all have egos, and egos can be really a great thing and very healthy for our success and for our confidence, for our leadership ability. I think we have to have a very balanced and healthy ego. It's when the head is leading, when the mind is leading, most of the time that's going to mute or turn off the heart. And when the heart is leading, that's going to mute or almost turn off, the head, which is a lot of the ego. So it's more just trying to have a better balance between the analytical mindset and more the emotional desires to kind of have a better balance between maybe the masculine and the feminine inside us.
Have you noticed that your mind is a bit of a poison? All of our minds are a bit of a poison, the illusion of control that the mind gives us.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I think anytime we start, whether it's believing we have all the answers or we stop listening to understand, and now we just listen to just respond. We overanalyze things. We try and play out scenarios. We're always trying to cover for ourselves, and which leads us to avoiding direct conversation. There's a lot of traps that your mind can get you in for sure if you're just leading with that. And at the same time, there's a lot of great things that analyzing things and risk assessment, logical reasoning, I think can really be good. But you have to try and balance the positive things that analytical mind can add to your life with the things that will hold you back and will cause you to regress in areas. And for me, it was just for years and years and years, especially in my 20s, of just a major repression of feelings, because that's what I grew up as my default, was just not talk about what was going on in my life, not check in with myself and my feelings, not being able to express my feelings, and not just in relationships, but in friendships. And so it affected a lot of areas of my life. So as I've gotten older, I'm trying to, unwind those things, you rewire those neural pathways. The basis of all that is just an unconditional love for myself. And as I do that, then it's way easier to then return that to the people in my life.
I've said before in therapy that among all things, that if I could change one thing about myself, it would be to go easier on myself, to not having a withering self-assessment that I imagine comes up with all those demons with ayahuasca, where you're like, oh my God, I really don't like this about myself.
Yeah. I mean, Dan, I resonate with that 100%. Like that is and has been my greatest challenge, is how can I be gentle with myself? How can I go easier on myself? How can I give myself the same latitude and the same forgiveness that I can give a best friend? Where in a heartbeat, something happens, it's like, it's all good. I love you. Like, we've been through so much together. I know that you didn't mean to do that, but with ourselves, how easy is it to just slam ourselves? You're the biggest idiot ever. How could you be so fucking stupid? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Can't you ever just turn your brain off, Aaron?
Right,
like
the
I'm
two of you. I mean, seriously,
I bet your breath work and meditation has probably helped him.
Yeah, the breath work and meditation for me has been great, and I've met some really cool people and some interesting things. I've worked on a transcendental meditation with an awesome teacher in Southern California, and that's been really good, because for a long time, I don't know, those of us with analytical minds, I always felt like, what's wrong with me? I can't quiet my mind. This has got to be so easy, right? Look at what the gurus in India. But in transcendental meditation, I found a forgiveness for that wandering mind, and it allows you to kind of embrace those thoughts, and embracing those thoughts, that's how those thoughts can kind of dissipate and actually go away. And I've found a lot of solace and enjoyment out of that type of meditation. It's been great for me.
Have you gotten liberation out of the last 2 years, the turbulence, the controversy? Quarterbacks get the distractions away from their huddle. You have expressed your feelings publicly in a way you never have before. So that's part of this growth, but has it been liberating, or has it been suffering, or has it been both?
No, I think it's been very liberating for sure. I've been a very quiet person for the majority of my life, and it's been nice in a few areas to really regain some of the narrative around some of the stories that were out there about me, and just speak my truth on a number of different topics that are important to me, and show up how I want to show up. That being said, there definitely has been some turbulence and some unintended consequences, but it's allowed me to every single time to adjust and then reintegrate, to adjust and reintegrate. The only way that you can really level up is from mistakes, and I've made enough of them, and I'm thankful for them. There's, obviously there's wishes on certain things, that I would have said and should have said or didn't say or said and didn't want to say, but I'm thankful for all those moments because it's allowed me to reintegrate the lessons that I'm working on and to find a way to level up, to do it better the next time.
After winning back-to-back MVPs, Aaron, and kind of going through what you've gone through the past 2 years, has it been liberating to pass the torch to Tua in a sense?
God, he played a great game last week.
Trent Dilfer was on, and he said that Tua reminds him of you, Aaron. He did say that. Yeah.
I like Tua. I like the way he plays, and he's taking some crap down there. It feels like at times, especially this offseason, just some things about him maybe not being a franchise guy and stuff. And I enjoyed watching him in college, and I was laughing Monday night, watching the guy that was backing him up, Jalen Hurts, who's in Philly and playing great. So happy for those guys. I like the way they carry themselves, and man, Tua just had an incredible fourth quarter, really. But yeah, they got some weapons down there for sure.
How often over the last couple of years has something you've said or done been hard to forgive yourself for as you try to practice some of this self-love, like where you're coming home, what an idiot I am. How could I have said or done X?
Well, the last 2 years, it's been much better. It's been much easier because I've been integrating these lessons I've learned. But for the previous decade, really tough. I mean, I would stew on things I said or didn't say or should have said at nighttime and have a hard time falling asleep, and think about them during the day and have a hard time blocking those things out from time to time, just because I care. I really do care about how I show up in the world and how my teammates view me and about my relationships and my friendships. It means a lot to me. And so I want to do right by those people, and I want to do right by myself. But definitely the last couple of years, learning a deeper level of that self-love and a deeper level of the gentleness and going easier on myself has been really, really good for me. And I think it's coincided with a lot of important changes and boundaries I've created in my life and relationships that have come into my life that are deep and meaningful. And the ones that have moved on, and that I, people that I had beautiful relationships with, and that I don't have those with anymore. Like, very thankful for those moments and those interactions with those people, and but thankful for the people in my life right now, and the lessons I've learned, and the fact that I'm on my journey and I'm making mistakes, and that's okay because that's part of it.
You cared a lot what people thought, a lot more what people thought a few years ago, correct? What others thought.
I mean, I've always cared about how I show up in the world. I think I've always cared about the people really close in my life. I think you may refer to, I just feel like there were some narratives out there that were just patently so false, and that I, for the longest time, just stayed quiet on it, didn't say anything, or took the high road. And it's been nice through the McAfee show and some of the other outlets to be able to kind of share a little bit more about myself. That's what I've always enjoyed about talking to you guys, is I feel like we've gone to some non-football places so many times that, it's been glimpses, and there's been glimpses over the years through maybe an interview with Aaron Andrews and Fox from time to time, or come on your show or come on some other shows. And then being able to do it with Pat on a weekly basis has been really nice. And just to, have that liberation to, to say what's on my heart and, make mistakes and forgive myself and move on and come back and do it better the next time.
How does it feel to be on the other side of the scientific and medical community when you're doing that publicly?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a polarizing issue, and was a lot of energy around that last year. I knew that there was probably going to be something that could come up at some point because I wasn't vaxxed, but maybe didn't know the extent of how that would play out. But yeah, I'm thankful for the lessons I learned in the process. I'm thankful for the folks that reached out. I'm thankful for the conversations with people that don't agree with me that could have civil conversations about it, because I think that's how you can grow and learn. And I don't have all the answers. I have my beliefs and the research that I've done and the people I've talked to, but I welcome discussions around any issue or where I don't see eye to eye with somebody. I think that's the biggest problem in this country is we have a hard time doing that. If we disagree with somebody, we write them off right away instead of trying to learn something from that person. And then maybe at the end you just agree to disagree, and that's fine. But it doesn't have to be an end of a friendship or end of a long-term friendship or even lifelong friendships. But for some people, that's the direction that it went.
What part of the reaction surprised you beyond that, right? You weren't expecting to lose some people over that, were you? The people close to you?
I wasn't, no. I just think that, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that were very interesting about it, but the biggest thing is there just wasn't any room for opinions that didn't go along with the mainstream thought. And as being on the other side of this now, obviously there were some things that were said to us that weren't entirely true. And I think we're all better from having gone through it. And hopefully we don't make some of the same mistakes next time around.
I feel like there was more you were going to say there, and you sort of edited yourself because you realized that anything you say ends up in the headlines. That you had more ideas of things that surprised you because you couldn't have expected that to be the reaction. You've been, if not universally popular, pretty close to beloved. Like anyone who didn't like you was not liking you for silly sports reasons, not because of your opinions on things.
Yeah, I believe that's true. There's probably two people you could find who didn't really like me, and then the couple writers that would give those people forum to voice their thoughts when kicking us was a popular decision and route for a story to go down. But that definitely was an issue that was very polarizing. I get it, because we're talking about a life or death issue. And that gets tied to identity, and it gets tied to worth and truth and all these different really big words and issues and tenets of our personality. And so I understand that it would be polarizing, but maybe didn't expect that type of the extent of the reaction.
You talked about a DMT tea. Are you thinking you must be thinking beyond ayahuasca, right? There are more explorations that you want to go. What are the next steps for you there on the search toward enlightenment through what some people might view as unconventional?
Well, I think that's the whole point, Dan, is we need to start looking at other things that may be unconventional and start incorporating some different forms of medicine. There's some really interesting studies going on right now with psilocybin and MDMA therapy around PTSD for the troops, depression, anxiety, various things. I think those are hopefully going to get more and more mainstream as we look for kind of some non-opioid treatments for especially some of our veterans coming back from war who are so banged up and physically and mentally. But personally, the DMT is in ayahuasca. That is what gives you the psychoactive experiences. I feel like in the next probably year or two that I'll probably sit with the medicine again. In a similar format, maybe 3 or 4 nights. There's a lot of different people from lots of walks of life, but most encouraging from my NFL community, both current and former players who have reached out or are interested in doing, a journey if I decide to do it in the next couple of years. So I think that would be really fun and interesting to take some, current possibly, but definitely former teammates retired guys from across the league and guys I played with. Would be interesting to expose them that world and see if there was some healing that could be done.
Aaron, me and Billy want to explore two things not nearly as important as what you and Dan.
Well, I'm wondering if there's like a Groupon for that adventure, how it is that you sign up online. Like, how do we get part of that?
The two things we want to explore real quick, Aaron. Okay. I've never been to Lambeau, and I want to explore Lambeau Field. So my Jets are playing the Green Bay Packers late October. What I'm thinking is me and Billy come up, a couple of front row seats, maybe some sideline passes, and a one-on-one sit down, me and you, okay, right before the game, maybe Thursday before the game. What do you think?
Maybe.
Hey, Dan, we got him for you. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You guys are just
help us out, Dano.
What help you out? How? You're just
how about look?
Him for stuff.
Aaron likes you. He respects you.
No. Let's do a home and home. Okay, we can go up to Lambeau for the Jets game. You're going to be down here in Miami Christmas Day. We'll treat you to a big meal. Like, I don't know, do you eat pork at all? Do you have pork?
Cahachina.
Yeah, because we cook on Christmas
Billy,
Eve.
are you inviting him over for Christmas?
For your Christmas Eve?
Yeah, on Christmas Eve, we do something that's called a cahachina, where we get like this pig and we put it in and we cook it over hours. The family comes over. Fun times are had by all. Now, I do understand you have a game the next day. So if you can't make that, maybe you could come the next day. We could have some leftovers together, exchange gifts, whatever.
Either of these in play, Aaron?
Just to repay you for the hosting us at Lambeau, I guess.
Hey, Billy, let's be careful. You don't want to invite AJ Dillon over for Christmas. Could get awkward. Okay. Yeah.
Why would it get awkward?
Well, he's Jewish. I mean,
listen, if I'm coming to anybody's house, I feel like Dan, might be the most fun down there. So,
wow.
Oh my God.
Keep you guys in mind.
Sorry he rejected you. Before we get you out.
Wait, are you going to Dan's for Christmas? And am I getting a one-on-one sit down with Aaron Rodgers Thursday before the Jets Packers game? Can we make that happen? I mean, just me and you. We'll have some fun, a couple of laughs. We don't need to talk about anything serious. We'll just have some fun.
You bringing some DMT?
Yeah, done.
He will bring drugs. He'll bring drugs. I don't think those are the drugs he'll be bringing. Let's fill in some blanks for me here on some football questions here. Just what do you regard? Every week somebody's looking at a different throw you made, and they're like, how the hell was that throw made? You've told us about, the desperation Hail Mary throws, but give us one play in your lifetime, one where you're like, holy shit, that was a hell of a throw. Like, that one was the throw that I regard as nobody else in my sport, in the history of my sport, but me could have made that one.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's so many guys now who can really throw it. Maybe, before the Mahomes and Allen crew got in the league, I feel like there was, maybe a half dozen or a dozen throws that not many guys could make or have ever made. But, there's just a few that stick out. I threw a touchdown to Devontae in 2016 against the Eagles on the left sideline on Monday night that kind of snuck in there somehow. He made a great catch, but it was like one of those cool throws. I threw a touchdown to Jermichael Finley in 20 what was that, 11 at home, kind of right over the shoulder of a defender. That was pretty special. I mean, I love the throw in the Super Bowl to Greg Jennings down the middle on Ike Taylor that somehow deflects like barely off his finger on 3rd and 10. That was one of those really special, super, super tight window throws. But I don't know. I mean, I had one in the game the other day that's super fun. I make this fake and I'm looking inside, like 10 yards inside the pylon, and throw this like no looker out in the flat to Tunyon. And it was a 9-yard gain. It's a throwaway play. It's a nothing play. This one was like really cool. Like, I mean, the stuff that went into like that, and then setting your feet and you're wide open and you're looking inside and you throw and you slow-mo on the film, and the defender like jumps to the inside and you literally throw it like 4 yards outside his arm. Like those are fun ones.
Look at the smile on his face. Stugotz is delighting in the fact that you get to go into a game as a younger quarterback.
It's so great. Yeah, it's rare, right?
It's very rare. I think this is he the only guy older than me in the league?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
sounds about right.
Yeah.
How do I make the argument, Aaron, given that I think you're the best quarterback I've ever seen, that you've won 1 title and Tom Brady has won 7? How do I make the argument when he's already won as many playoff games in the NFC as you have, and win the argument that I believe you're the better quarterback?
Well, it's the the Super Bowls usually goes that makes you the best player or the GOAT, right? Like, I mean, other than who's won the most NBA championships? Bill Russell.
Yeah.
But not many people say he's the GOAT, right? They
Right.
would say, you know, Michael Jordan. Some people, I don't know, somehow think LeBron. But for me, it's Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, the two best players I've ever seen. Obviously, that was kind of when I fell in love with basketball in the late '80s, early '90s. But look, there's Super Bowl championships, and then there's talent and ability, and I think when that's the standard, then I probably should be in the conversation.
What's the closest you were to leaving? The most frustrated day when you were really 50-50 on retirement and the feeling overwhelmed you on, you know what, I might be done with this. I'm tired and maybe this is it for me.
Well, Dan, I would say that it was not frustration. It was pure enjoyment. It was enjoying the other side. It was enjoying a life of making my own schedule and traveling when and where I want to, and not beholden to you know, a workout at this time and body work at this time and this thing going on here. It was the ability to create a schedule for myself for an entire year. And like, man, this is pretty amazing. I do have, you know, interests outside of football and things that I'd love to do and places I'd love to travel. And, you know, some of my, you know, businesses and philanthropic things I'd like to get more involved in. But it was more of a, you know, it's super just blissful, enjoyable day where I'm like, I could do this all the time. It wasn't ever frustration because I love playing, I love competing, and for me it's just always been about the grind, especially the mental grind of a season, and then juxtaposing that with how much enjoyment I can have in the off season and set my own schedule.
You had to have been tempted to play somewhere else, though. There had to be some of that there, right? I don't really understand why you went back there.
Yeah, I don't expect you to, but I do. I have so much love for this place, and this place has given me a lot, and I feel like I've returned. Hopefully, they feel like a lot. But I love this place. There's a great history here. There's a great love affair between myself and our fans and this state. And I just felt like the right thing to do would be to finish here in Green Bay. And it hit on a lot of really important characteristics that I like to exhibit. One being loyalty. And being loyal to this place that drafted me, that has stood by me, that's paid me a ton of money, and also just my love and desire to win here and to finish the right way here was ultimately what it came down to.
One more shot before we get him out of here, Stugotz. You want to try and get any more out of him? You want to ask for any more favors? Any more?
I mean, I think. Well, he's going to your house for Christmas, so that's nice,
Yeah.
Dan. You better have a nice Christmas prepared.
You're
for
welcome
Harry.
for that, also, by the way.
And you are welcome. No, the only other thing I have, and I will bring whatever drugs you want me to bring. I just want to yes to this. Sit that one-on-one,
Yeah.
and then I want to watch the Packers Jets. I mean, you know, what do you think?
Well, you're a Jets fan, so
but I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan.
More
too.
than anything, though, Aaron, he's for sale. So
yeah, I'm for
just
sale.
Know that.
And listen, I am telling you, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan before I'm a Jets fan. I'll say it right now. I don't care. Yep.
I will strongly consider Mr. Stugotz.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Strongly consider. Congratulations,
Yes.
Stugotz.
Right.
Aaron, thank you, sir. It is good seeing you. Don't be a stranger.